Emerald Fennell, who is the Saltburn director, and Margot Robbie are going to apparently turn down a Netflix offer for their next movie. So, Netflix spends a lot of money on movies, but they acquire a lot of films as well. So, what they are prepared to do is this. This is coming from Screen Rant. Netflix is trying to buy the Saltburn director Emerald Fennell's next movie, an adaptation of Wuthering Heights, but she and Margot Robbie might reportedly pass on the $150 million deal. Fennell burst onto the scene in a phenomenal fashion with her directorial debut, which should have won the Picture of the Year, not Nomadland, with Promising Young Woman, for which she won an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay, and followed that up in 2023 with Saltburn, one of the most talked about movies of the year. Now, it looks like her next film is planned to be an adaptation of Wuthering Heights, starring Margot Robbie and Saltburn's Jacob Elordi, who's making quite a name for himself. So, this is according to Pucks. What I'm hearing newsletter. Netflix's new deal, new film head Dan Lin has offered over $150 million for Emerald Fennell's adaptation of Wuthering Heights, which is more than other contenders. MRC, who's financing the film, is eager to accept the offer. However, Fennell and Robbie, who are producing, want a theatrical release and might pass on that deal since Netflix remains in its no theater stance. It remains firm on it. So, at the Screen Time conference, Netflix chief content officer, they reiterated their stance, saying that theatrical is not our model. We're just a different business. You are a different business. But here's the thing. Have you seen the Netflix top 10? Have you seen the Netflix top 10 over the past bit, right? You're really good at series. You're very good at series. You put out a crap ton of series. You make a lot of good series. People subscribe to your network for your series. And most of your movies are meh to good. But a few of them have been awful, like Uglies. That was bad. That should have gone to theaters. You would have made money off of it. It would have been an awful film to see in theaters, but you would have made money off of it. This film, I think you do it. Emerald Fennell, becoming an acclaimed director. She's known now because of Saltburn. One of the most talked about films of last year, whether it is warranted or unwarranted. I think it's warranted. That had some very intriguing themes in it, some very intriguing scenes. It went a little bit far. I liked that. Margot Robbie, one of the biggest stars in the world right now, just had the highest grossing film of last year with Barbie. Jacob Elordi, he's becoming a big name. The Netflix people know him from the Kissing Booth films. You saw him in Saltburn. If you've seen him as Elvis and Priscilla, he was phenomenal in that as well. He's becoming a good little actor. I haven't seen him in Euphoria yet, except for like a little clip here and there. He's phenomenal. Why don't you want to put this in theaters? Well, Netflix's stance is this. They want numbers. They don't care about money, right? In that way. They don't care about money. What they care about is how many people are subscribing to their service because of something. Well, I'll show you when we take a look at the Netflix top 10 what went to theaters and what's happening. Because if you take a look at what's happening with something like Deadpool and Wolverine, people saw it in theaters $1.2 billion. Mario Bros. Was a massive hit. That was on your top 10 for countless weeks. Countless weeks. I can't tell you how many times I was doing this show. The Super Mario Bros. Movie was on the Netflix top 10 in movies. That is insane because it went to theaters. You got an audience built in. The kids wanted to see it again. If they bought that and put that right on Netflix, it would have been forgotten about. It would have been thrown to the wayside. I guarantee you. Because Japan gave it a lot of box office. We gave it a lot of box office. The UK gave it a lot of box office. Everywhere loved the Super Mario Bros. Movie because of nostalgia. This is what you should do. What you should be doing is what Amazon's doing. At least put 15, 16, maybe 20-year films in theaters. You tried that with Knives Out. With Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery. You put it in there for one weekend. And it made a crap ton of money. It made a lot of money. Nobody was going to be as excited about it until they say, oh, wait, it's going to theaters. It's actually a legit movie now instead of, oh, it's just on Netflix or, I'll watch it on Netflix later. You put this movie in theaters because you recoup your investment. This movie easily makes at least $60 million. If anything, you're not going to earn that on Netflix. I don't care if you have the ad-free plan or not. That doesn't make your movie profitable. What makes your movie profitable is that people are, yes, subscribing to your service, but if you're making a return on investment in theaters. Elemental cost a pretty penny. That thing was not making a whole lot of money. $8 million. Then $8 million. $8 million. It kept going because people kept seeing it. It got a fan base. Good word of mouth. If this film's good, and I'm sure it will be, with the cast and the writer and director and with this film, this movie's going to be great. You put it in theaters. You should have done that with Red Notice, with Rebel Moon, you did with Army of the Dead for like a weekend or two. You do that with some of your big movies. That's what you do. These big budget films that you spend over $100 million on, you put them in theaters. Damsel would have done fine in theaters. You put it in theaters. If not, yeah, it's going to go on Netflix. It'll be number one for a little bit. People are going to forget about it. Sorry, you might get some Oscar buzz. Doesn't mean that people are going to remember your film on Netflix within 3 weeks. Just being completely honest with you, it might sound like I'm being an asshole, but you know what? You're being assholes by not making your company money and putting them in theaters. That's why you were in the negative profit margin for so many years, because you rejected the idea of going to theaters. But, bit of a long-winded topic, but I think it's necessary because Netflix needs to change their route if they want to make money and continue to be a profitable business. With your series, that's not going to get you a whole lot of places. Your DVD service was where you started out. You started out in physical media. You pulled away the physical media. You weren't going to put anything in theaters. People begged you. Knives Out made a pretty penny. I think you do the same thing with the third Knives Out film next year. You make it a full theatrical release, and then you put it on Netflix during Thanksgiving weekend, like you did with the Glass Onion movie. You made money. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know your thoughts.